up, YouTube? It is Melanie back with Melanie Loves Death Metal, and this is going to be part 2 of my favorite death metal albums that have come out in the last 5 years. So part 1 was put up last week. If you want, go ahead and watch it over there. And this is going to be part 2. So after I recorded the first part, I thought about a couple of things, and I definitely missed a few in this list. So I might make a part 3 and pull out some of the ones that I missed. But for now, I'm going to go through the ones that I've pulled out already since last time I recorded. But I'll probably make a part 3 after today of some of the ones that I forgot. Because some people commented on a couple of things and I was like, oh, that's right. That happens. Anyway, let's get started. I got a lot to talk to today. So as noted in the first part, there are a lot of 20 buck spin albums in this list. They just have been killing it on all fronts, especially this year. And 2019 was another fantastic year by them. Last year there was a lot of great things as well. 2018. So, as always, I feel like that happens. You get kind of hooked on a label and you just love the stuff that they put out. 20 buck spin is one of those labels. So naturally, Cerebral Rot, Odious Descent of Decay had to be in this list. The glare is awful. I should have just unsleeved all these. Sorry. Amazing, swampy, murky, dirty sounding death metal. If you're not familiar with Cerebral Rot, they have a new album out this year. It's fantastic. This one, I think, edges it just a tiny bit, but there's definitely a great progression with this band that they've done within their newer album this year. So this album is fantastic. I had never heard of this band until they released this on 20 buck spin, and then I of course was obsessed with it like so many other people. This has been spun quite a bit to the point of where I'm thinking about now of getting a second copy just because that happens. I like to keep one at least in decent condition, and then the other one I use as like my beating, just to beat up and play. I don't know, I'm rambling. Anyway, Cerebral Rot, this is a great album if you haven't heard it yet. Just great stuff, really good band, and yeah, their newest album is really good too, so definitely check that out if you have not so far this year. That is definitely one of my favorite albums to come out this year, which that list will be coming sometime in December. Got to get through all these other albums that still need to come out for the rest of the year. So next up is, of course, another 20 buck spin record. There's, I think, 2 or 3 more left. Another band that I had never really heard of until this album came out. Just a phenomenal band. They released... they haven't released anything since this album. So getting excited about more new music. Hopefully that's on the horizon. But Vastum, Orificio Purge, fantastic, just a fantastic record. This is probably, this and that Cerebral Rot are 2 of the records that I still listen to on a countless basis. Like, this has been played so many times. I just love this album, and the singing on it, the vocals on it are just incredible, and I love everything. I love how dark and just evil sounding this is, to the point of where I am on the hunt for pretty much everything else that they've released, and then snagging the 7 inches that they have out. So yeah, great stuff. Just incredible. So back is the band right there, as you guys know. Female, Layla, she, I think I said your name right. She's incredible. So yeah, this band is just absolutely incredible. Vastum has several others. A couple of members have several other side projects as well. But this one really just is one of my all-time favorite albums right now. And band, really, because their other albums that they have out are just incredible as well. But that one really is my favorite of what they put out so far. Biased opinion, was the first one I'd ever heard, so yeah. Alright, so then the next one is, and this was a bit of a toss-up. I was gonna put 2 of their albums in this list, and then I told myself, like, pick the one that you listen to the most, pick the one that just really made you truly fall in love with the band, and this was a no-brainer in that regard. and this is probably no surprise at all, but Two Mold with Planetary Clairvoyance. So again, the glare is god-awful. Yeah, I really love, obviously, Manner of Infinite Forms. That album is fantastic as well, but like I said, this one probably is the one that I listen to the most, and I just, yeah, great death metal band, Canadian, for people that did not know, and just really some of the best music that I've listened to within the last 5 years. So the hype about this band is I'm that person. I pretty much just, I love everything that they've put out so far. I have all their stuff on every format, and I've got t-shirts and all the other stuff. So I definitely am pretty big fan of this band right now and what they do. So again, I feel like that's probably not much of a surprise that this is on here, but this is just phenomenal. This came out in 2019, I think, so it's been almost 2 years now. So that's crazy to think about, because sometimes it still feels like it was when I first heard it. Just, it still gives me that good vibe when I first listened to it. And I've also recommended that album to so many people that had never heard it, and gotten so many people into the fan base of Two Mold. Like, it's insane. So yeah. I just love that band. So the next one is, and again, these are in no particular order. I did just lump all the 20 buck spins together naturally. So here's another one. Incredible Death Doom album. Doomy, why did I say that? Member of Sepulchral Curse is in this album, or in this band. And this is his other album, Solothus, with, I always forget the name of this, Realm of Ash and Blood. So, Desert Wastelands just put out their first album of this on tape this year. And this is such a good album. So good. Like I said, it's Death Doom. There's a little bit of a slowiness to some of these songs, but it's just evil and heavy, and just, I have been hooked on this ever since I got it, and I loved this album. I think this came out last year, right? Yeah, just incredible. If you have not heard this yet, definitely check it out, especially if you're a Death Doom fan. Just amazing stuff, and I think they're from Finland. I'm probably incredibly wrong about that. I don't remember. This is off the cuff. I didn't write any notes up or anything like that. Just wanted to quickly talk through some of my favorite albums, and then hopefully other people will start to listen to some of these things. So really great stuff. Just, yeah, it's definitely worthy of a listen, and I still listen to this all the time as well. It's just so good. This album makes me happy when I think about it, because of just how much I love it. So again, that's another album that I always recommend to people, and I tell them, you gotta listen to that. That's incredible. Alright, so let's see here. Is there any more 20? Yes, there is. Let's see. I did not put them all together like I thought I did. Alright, one more 20 buck spin record. Another Death Doom one. Very dark, dissonant Death Doom album. I feel like totally underrated, in my opinion. Maybe at the time it came out, maybe it wasn't, but I wasn't really in the universe online at the time when this came out. It was a couple years ago, back in 2018, so like almost 3 years ago. But this album is another one that I absolutely love, that I still listen to all the time, and that's Ossuarium with Living Tomb. And again, this is on 20 buck spin. Like I said, these last couple years have been nuts for them. This album is fantastic as well. There are some things on this album that just really are just incredible. Like, it literally, you feel like you're walking through a graveyard when you're listening to this album, like a dark night walking through a graveyard. It's just so fantastic. And there's the back of it right there. It's just incredible album. And this album gets stuck in my head. There are several moments on this album that are just so like riffy and incredible, and just, yeah, this band is very, I feel like they're a little bit underrated. Not enough people talk about them. So yeah, and I have a couple of other stuff in my collection, EPs and stuff like that, so I might do a whole a whole video about this band because I feel like more people need to talk about it. But some great stuff. Again, $20 band. I don't know if you can still get these on vinyl. They're usually pretty good about repressing their stuff, but I don't remember if they've repressed this anytime soon. I should look into that. I wouldn't mind getting another copy of that. Alright, so that's the end of the $20 bands. I am saving one for last. I'm choosing to talk about it last because it's been probably what I would say a top 3 favorite album of mine recently. So yeah, we'll get to that. Some stuff in here probably is a shock to you, but some stuff is probably not. So anyway, next up, no brainer, Skeletal Remains. Again, another one of my incredibly favorite bands. They're just incredible. They remind me a lot of Death. Just some of their old stuff, especially this album. Obviously, they're not sounding exactly like them, but you know, the vocal style, some of the riffage sounds exactly like. Anyway, this is their Devouring Mortality. I can't remember which album this is. Third, second, I don't remember. But this one is I love this album. I love their newest album that came out as well, but I put this in there. I was trying not to put doubles in there. This came out in 2019 on Century Media, and they recently just did a bunch of repressings of Skeletal Remains albums, so if you're looking to get them all in your collection, go ahead and do that, because I think they're still floating around, and they're all, yeah, they're worthy of putting in your collection. This band is so great. I just love this band, so good stuff. Yeah, I had to throw them in there because especially this album I still listen to all the time. Like, this is one of those, I'm in the mood for something a little bit old school sounding with a little bit of a new school sound to it, and they do that right. They have a very, very, very good riffing, as I like to say, and it's just pumps you up when you listen to this band. They're so good. Hopefully I can see them live someday. It'd be nice. That's one of the bands I've never seen in concert, and I would love to. I think they would be fantastic. So the next album is, these next 2 albums are probably gonna be like hard pass for some people, and whatever, it is what it is. So yes, it's another deathcore album, Shadow of Intent with Melancholy. Yeah. I know not everybody likes the deathcore stuff. This is more like, I don't know, they call it synth deathcore because there's a lot of synthesizers and stuff like that. This album is fantastic. It has Trevor on it from Black Dahlia Murder in one of the songs, which is essentially what sold me because it was the first song I'd ever heard off the album. Again, deathcore, not a genre that I really dive too deep into. If I hear something I like, I listen to it, and if I like it, I'll buy it. But for the most part, it's not like one of those things where I'm going to pull up Spotify and play a deathcore playlist or anything like that. So it's really hit or miss for me for this genre. But this particular band, Shadow of Intent, is definitely one of the best to do it in that genre. And these albums, I have all their albums. They're so good. I love them. I think they're phenomenal musicians, and they have a new album coming out, or a new EP. Is it an EP or album? I don't know. It's on pre-order. But again, I'm excited. I love this band, and this album is really, really good. Another one that I listen to a lot. In fact, I bought the Tab book, and so I know how to play several of the songs on guitar. Just really, really fun album, and just unique sound that they have that I really enjoy. So if you are willing to give it a shot, this is definitely one of those essential albums that people usually say if you're trying to find new deathcore bands. Like, this is definitely one of those. So this record itself was really hard to get. It sold out super fast, and at the time I don't know if they like pressed vinyls as much as they do now when that came out, but it took me a while to get a copy of that. I think I ended up ordering it from overseas, so it was probably a little bit more expensive than what I would have liked to spend, but it's good. I love it, obviously. Alright, so the next one, another band that I feel like is creates a little bit of division amongst people. Their newest album that came out this year a couple weeks ago is so good. And as soon as I don't know where my vinyl's at, it's been delayed several times. I've gotten several emails from Indie Merch being like, it's coming eventually. So eventually when it comes, I will talk more about the newest album. But until then, I will talk about the album before that, and that is River of Niles. River of Nile, Jesus, where owls know my name. So again, I feel like this band all of a sudden has become divisive. I don't because of where their sound has moved to. First couple albums were very technical death metal, a little bit of a deathcore sound to it, mostly technical death metal. And then this album comes along where they've added some amazing prog elements to it, like a saxophone. The saxophone is so good. So this album is really good. I've listened to it a ton. Their newest album, though, definitely my favorite album that they've put out so far. But like I said, we'll talk about that when I eventually get it. So great stuff on Metal Blade Records. And yeah, I had to throw this in there. This came out 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago now, which is crazy to think about because yeah, I was super, yeah, this came out like 4 years ago. That's insane. It's hard to believe it's been that long. So good stuff. It brings back good memories. My son was born right around this time this came out, and I just remember listening to it at night when trying to get him down and just walking around, and with a newborn, dealing with all that stuff. That was one of those albums that I was just listening to nonstop at the time. So it always makes me think of that whenever I put it on. So, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more. So let's go. We're gonna get through this. Next one, again, probably not a big surprise. Outer Heaven. I've talked about this band within the recent videos that I've done. Realms of Eternal Decay. Incredible album. Incredible band. They're working on a new album right now. I cannot wait for it to come out. Different style of death metal. Their vocals are a lot different than what you're used to or what I'm used to. I just really love the way that they structure their songs and the way they do everything. Just really, really great album. And I absolutely have played the shit out of this in my car, while I'm walking the dogs, when I'm at the gym, at home. Like, this is just, again, top tier stuff for me. And then the artwork is an added bonus. The iconic artwork that I just absolutely love. So great stuff. That's on Relapse, and you can still buy that. It's not sold out. So Relapse is really good about keeping stuff in stock. So one of those relevant bands on Relapse. I've seen comments about how is Relapse still relevant, or do they just repress death things and get away with that? Which, yes, they do repress death like every year, but that is a relevant band on Relapse, so definitely check them out if you haven't yet. So next up is another one that I still listen to all the time, a band that I didn't really know too much about until this album came out last year, but that is A Feather and Bone with Sulfuric Disintegration. Fantastic album. Just I remember when I first heard it, I was like, oh my god, it just melted my fucking face off. Amazing stuff. This is by far my favorite one they've put out so far. I think they only have one other album. I don't remember. Very, very good. Somebody, I don't remember who it was, mentioned that they thought it was going to be like a war metal sounding album. It's not. It is just aggressive pummeling assaults. Like, that's A Feather and Bone for me. So Out in Profound Lore, they recently just repressed these on a couple of different variants because the first ones were completely sold out. So they still might have some, I'm not sure, but obviously mine is the red one, as you can see. But great album. I had to throw this in there, and it's got that shiny logo up there. And they did change their logo. I noticed between the last album and this one, they made it a little bit more like bloodier or whatever that is, drippier. I don't know. So again, fantastic album. Okay, moving on to this one. These last four are just some of my favorite albums right now, you guys. Like, if I had a top 10, which I don't want to do, but if I had a top 10, these would be right at the top. The ones I just listened to nonstop recently, especially yesterday. I listened to most of these yesterday while I was cleaning up my office. I have like an L-shaped desk. Before, my camera was over there, but I changed stuff around, so the background's going to change now. But I was cleaning up my office, and I was organizing my distro stuff and making shipments because I had a bunch of stuff to ship out, and just like cleaning up my music and my tapes. My tapes are a disaster. And I played all 4 of these albums. So I love them so much. So the next one is Wake. They just recently signed the Metal Blade, and I think that they just got done recording a new album, so I'm really, really excited. So this is Devouring Ruin, and I love this album. This is just dissonance perfected. They came out with an EP like at the end of last year called Confluence. Actually, it was literally right around this time last year, so it's been a year, which is crazy to think about. And just, that's incredible. Out on Translation Lost, you can definitely still get these. They have copies, and then their first album before this is fantastic as well, but I put this in there because this one was just, this is the one that I still listen to all the time. So I love this band. They're so good, and I'm happy that they got signed to Metal Blade, so I'm excited for their new stuff. Really, really good stuff, and I love the artwork. The artwork is phenomenal on these albums. So, okay. Next, probably another one that you're not too surprised about. Talked about this several times already on here, and this is Morbid Theorem. Yeah, are you guys surprised if that's in here? Morbid Theorem with Disgorged from Psychotic Deaths. Jeez, these album names. Incredible artwork as well. I love that album artwork. So this album is very death doomy as well, very dark, very dissonant, just incredible album. Some people they really didn't do much for them, but for me, I absolutely love this album, and they have a new one that is on pre-order, and I am so excited for it. So I cannot wait to finally hear that in full. Yeah, just top tier stuff for me. Like I said, another Profound Lore album. This album, I believe, is still available on just plain black copies. I think you can still get those, but colored and stuff like that are hard to get. Unfortunately, mine, I don't know how it happened. It sat outside in the rain for a little bit, and when it rains in Florida, it doesn't just like sprinkle, it monsoons, especially in the summertime. And it sat in like a puddle of water before I got home from work. This is back, obviously before COVID and stuff like that. And unfortunately, the box got pretty saturated and my corner got pretty screwed up. So that's kind of a bummer, but the vinyl's intact. It plays nice. So unfortunately, just that jacket got a little bit ruined there. So this actually ultimately is what led me to get a P.O. box, because I did not want that to happen again. And I was tired of my vinyls like sitting outside of my door, and just, it's nice having a P.O. box that can just keep my packages inside, and hopefully they don't get ruined by the rain. Okay, next up, another one that might not be a surprise to anybody, but another Relapse. They're not a Relapse anymore. I was going to say another Relapse band that's relevant. They're not a Relapse anymore. They were, though. Gatecreeper with Deserted. So, again, another band that people get angry about. I think, what did Chase call them? Stadium death metal. He's hilarious, by the way. I follow him on Twitter, and he posts hilarious things, and I think he mentioned that on this latest tour that they did, like, oh, we're a stadium death metal band, and people just got triggered by it. So definitely a very, very popular death metal band. These guys have just blown up after this album, and it's worth it. This album is fantastic. I still play it all the time. I've seen them twice now. They're such a fun show to go to, and just all around great band and great album. So I'm excited for them to be putting out new music again. They did release like an EP this year, as you guys know. It's like a grind, death grind album. It's got one side is like all grind songs, and then the other side is a death doom song, which is probably my all-time favorite song to be released this year. But I chose to just put this in there. This came out, actually, did this come out like 3 years ago now? Almost 2 years ago, which is crazy to think about. So again, fantastic album. Nate, he is the singer of Spirit Adrift. I don't think he's in the band anymore. These two used to be in each other's bands, and then it sounded like, or at least it seemed like, I don't know for sure if this is the true story, but it seemed like once they started getting a little bit of success, he wanted to focus more on Spirit Adrift, because that was like his brainchild, his baby. And then Chase, I believe, played bass in Spirit of Drift, and then he played guitar in Gatecreeper. So yeah, these two phenomenal artists, and they're not together in the same band anymore, but I think that just their success, and they decided to, you know, focus on being in one band. So makes sense. Great stuff. And he has since added a new guitarist. I forget his name. And I think I read, like, he learned everything super fast. So, yeah. Great record. And they're really good live. Good time. Alright, and finally, the last one. Like I said, if you had to ask me what has been really my favorite album in the last couple of years, like, probably the one that just I really think about when people ask me that, in terms of death metal, it's definitely this one. 100%. And this will probably change when their new one comes out this week, I believe. I just got super excited. The tape actually is on its way right now. The vinyl won't be here for a little while longer, but I did order the tape because I have no chill. And I just want it on physical format. This is Worm with Gloomlord. So as you guys know, Worm is just a fantastic band. Been on Phantom has been on Ken's Death Metal Crypts a couple times now, and this album has just really been one of my favorite albums. Just end of story. Last year was my album of the year, and I absolutely love this album. I still listen to it nonstop. And I cannot wait for the new one. I've heard, you know, from what I've heard so far on it, it's going to be light years ahead of this. I feel like it's probably going to be one of those albums again. So yeah, this came out on Iron Bonehead, and this was actually pretty painful for me to get. So a little bit of a background on it. Night Shift had like a very limited run of Worm, and that was when I pretty much like learned who they were. I was like, who is this and why are people losing their shit over it? And like they sold out pretty fast. It was like shirts, sweatpants, a tape, which Headsplit ran out, did a tape run as well. Or I think that was where they got it from. I don't remember. And then the vinyl, and they had this really cool bright green vinyl, and I remember I listened to it and I was like, yeah, that's really good. Like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna buy that. And then the next day I went to go buy it and it was completely gone. So then I was like, well, I'm gonna have to order this through Iron Bonehead, which is gonna be a pain because at the time they weren't as accessible to get their stuff in the US. And they did a repressing, and I finally got it. Shipping was a pain, took forever to come here, it was expensive. And then, sure enough, as soon as I get it, these became accessible in the US again. So that happens, but it was worth it. It was worth it. And I love this album. And I have a download code, and I don't think I've used it. So that's all yours if you want it. I'm pretty sure I haven't redeemed it. I usually don't redeem download codes. But yeah. Just a phenomenal album. It's got elements of death doom in there, death metal, a little bit of just a slight sound of black metal. It's very ever so slight, but really, really great album. And just, yeah, top tier stuff. So their newest album is on $20 spin. Imagine that! And it's up for pre-order right now. It comes out this Friday, I'm pretty sure, in terms of digital. And then streaming, obviously. Digital is the same thing. Jesus. The tapes are pretty much shipping now. I got my shipping notification last week. And then vinyl, I think, does not come out until December, January. I don't remember. It's not for a couple of more months because vinyl is just in shambles right now. So, good stuff. And that is my list for now of Part 2 series. I might add another little small Part 3 because there's a couple of albums that people brought up in comments and I was like, damn it, that definitely should have gone in there. So again, that happens. So anyway, thank you guys for all the support. And fun fact, I am so close to 1,000 subscribers. So if you like what you're watching, subscribe. As soon as I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm doing a YouTube subscriber giveaway. Every 500 subscribers, I'm going to do that. So yeah, thank you guys so much, and the new collection update should also be up sometime this week as well. Thanks, guys.